Hello everybody, how you doing? Stopbar Gamer here. Today we're going to take a look at that was one of the most awaited ships in Star Citizen, which is the Aegis Redeemer, also known as the Nutcracker. And that's because of the engines here. They basically look like a nutcracker. They kind of open up in flight, and when you boost they spread out, and when they're off they close. So, it's kind of like a nutcracker. So I've had the opportunity to fly the ship a little bit, not much, only two or three game sessions, and I have to say I do love it. It's a great ship. It is a gun ship. It is a gun platform, and we'll talk about it when we get in the aircraft. I keep saying that in the spaceship here in a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and enter in through the back ramp. Now remember, this was originally going to be like a drop ship style, and they've turned it into more of a gun ship. Which makes sense for the amount of guns on the darn thing. So we'll go ahead and head in. And like most Aegis ships, for some reason, you got the rear ramp entry, and you've got all these doors right here, all these access points that make it very difficult to know which one you're opening, which one you're closing. So pay attention to it. It can be a little claustrophobic. This door should close automatically, I think. Yeah, there we go. And then once you come in here, you got a little bit of cargo room here, not much. Some beds right at the door again, so if the back door opens, you're being spaced. The bathroom slash shower. You might hear my son upstairs. He's with my mother-in-law, and he can be a little loud. It's getting near nap time. I want to take a nap too. So you got your 4 beds, some wardrobes, so basically armor storage. Kitchen, which by the way, this food and beer, etc., is all you can use. All of it, you can drink it. I would use it before you take off because it gets tumbled all over the refrigerator. Coffee maker and other such as sundry items for eating. It's actually pretty well stocked for a military gunship or patrol craft. I'm still fighting this cold, by the way. It's so fun. It's not COVID. I've been tested. So again, here you kind of have the business end. The top turret is accessible through here. You come in here and access it. These are components and stuff, so quantum drive, power plants. So whoever's in this turret, when we actually get repairs, is going to be pretty busy, because chances are you'll be dropping down to maintain all the equipment back here. Then as we proceed forward, you got some jump seats for troops or just random passengers, weapons storage, a bottom turret, and then I don't know what these are supposed to be for, but they look cool. If you look at it, subsurface planetary monitors. I mean, who knows? Meat and potatoes, you got remote turret access, so you got the rear remote turret, and if you have someone, so if you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crew members, you can have everything manned. So then the remote turret is going to be the one that's underneath here, that's currently slave to the pilot when there's no one in that remote seat. So we're going to go ahead and get in the seat. And you'll see it's a pretty decent view from the pilot seat. You can see full left, full right. Well, the up I'm clipping through, but it's not an amazing view, but it's pretty decent. Alright, we're going to go ahead and lift off. Gear those engines. Gear up. Clamshells come out. On boost, they kind of open up.
Thank you, and please visit again.
Now let's see how she handles. Hopefully we don't get scanned, because that would be annoying. Alright, so for this test we'll use this needle. So right now you can tell already, roll is not snappy, it's not a fighter, but it's there, it's pretty decent, it's controllable. Yaw is slow but controllable. Now let's check her on the axes. Come over to the side of the tip. SCM speed's about 130-ish, probably 135 if I really, really wanted to get the knob there. So right here, I'm strafing down and I'm pitching up. And you're gonna notice we're not keeping, like the needle's not even in sight. I could add some boost. If I boost, I'm able to keep it on target, but otherwise it just drifts away from us. So at least on the pitch axes, you're not going to be able to do the turnaround a point that I like to do. We'll try on the yaw. I almost have to come to a complete standstill to make the yaw work. Here we are just drifting away. So I can almost get it, and then we're going to just drift off. If I use the boost, it more or less helps us in the forward direction in acceleration rather than keeping us on target. So, what does this mean for you as the pilot of one of the most powerful gunships in the verse? What this means for you is your job is to keep your turrets on target. Now, don't get me wrong, you have some decent pilot-controlled guns. So let's go down here. Weapons. No, not engine off. There. Thank you. Alright, so we've got two C-78 ballistic cannons. So again, those are the cannons that fire explosive slugs. And two M5As. And those are right... So I'm pointing at the screen as if you could see. So you got the ballistic cannons right there on the left and the right. And then this forward remote turret is what you have. And then we got the ballistic Gatlings on the top and the bottom. This is the stock loadout. You can change the weapons. I flew with a friend's Redeemer, and he had Omni Skies on the forward and top turret, which worked really well. Some neutron cannons underneath. And I don't know what else. I think he kept the ballistic cannons. But either way, worked pretty well. The Gatlings have a pretty wide spread, has been my experience. Oh, seriously?
Please come to an immediate halt and hold for your vessel to be scanned.
I'm in the middle of a ship review, UEE. Seriously? Yeah, I'm looking at you. You gotta love it. Not really. You done yet?
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
You're clear to proceed.
Flip off. Alright, let's take a look at the roll axis. We've already kind of discussed that. We'll look at these clouds. Pretty slow roll, like I said. Not super slow, but it's very manageable. Yaw is the same. If you let go of the stick, you stop pretty quickly after you stop the move. So not bad at all. Your main task, like I said, is going to be to remain on target. And there's all the guns you got as a pilot controlled. See the little explosions from the C-78s? Pretty cool. Now, let's go down to atmosphere and see how she flies in atmosphere. I want to go somewhere that's on the sun side. They're all SFs. I guess I could just go to Lore. There we go, Edmund. We'll go to Edmund. So again, your job as the pilot of this ship is to be able to allow your turrets to keep fire on the enemy. So you're going to be mainly focusing on being smooth in your control inputs and trying to keep targets in the forward forward kind of arc. If they get in the rear arc, it's going to be pretty hard for the bottom turret to hit if they're above you. So again, it's a lot of practice learning to fly a gunship like this. So we're in here in atmosphere. We're going to come on down a little lower. On the way down, we can take a look at the roll. Definitely slower in atmo. And a little bit sloppier on the thruster inputs. Pitch feels snappy-ish. Let's check yaw. Start on a 20 heading. Yaw's about the same as it is in space, not bad. Yeah, notice it has a slight nose up tendency, so you'll have to, as you do, if you're using yaw on your turn, you're going to have to kind of adjust your pitch and your roll to maintain it. And yeah, the roll is definitely a little sloppier in Atmo than it is outside. But overall, I'd say she's pretty good. You're still getting 130-ish SCM speed in Atmo. And the visibility is truly not bad. So again, you're going to use this ship as a gunship, you're going to come in low, fight your targets, get out. That's pretty much it for the video. I mean, really all I can say is it's a very powerful ship, good components, good shields, good armor. Depending on how you load it out, it could truly be a very powerful ship. We're going to bring it down low and play a little bit at low altitude. Of course Eckhart would want to talk to me. He always wants to talk to me in the middle of a video. Has anyone else noticed that? Fine, I'll pick it up as I'm descending here. Personal appointment. Accept offer. Yeah, well, hurry up down low. The engine sounds are very nice, that's for sure. What was that? Just got like a full whiteout. Just enjoying flying down low. Let's kick it up a little bit. So again, it's a very stable ship. Not a lot of weird quirks. Yeah, she does invert it. And again, like most Star Citizen ships, mostly treats atmosphere the same as it would in space. It's just a little slower, a little sloppier, very easy to control. And again, so control inputs, you got a throttle on the left, that drives. Stick. Interesting. Pitch is inverted, by the way. You pull back to go forward, push to go up. That's 100% incorrect CIG. Good morning. Let's see, who is that? Ace Hambone. How you doing, brother? Yep, so again, the pitch is inverted there. Yaw, is it the feet? Nope. Yaw is what would be roll. And roll is what would be yaw. So everything is basically inverted from a real aircraft. Again, Star Citizen, this theme is pretty common, but this whole, like, this is driving me nuts. Pulling back to go forward? Come on, guys. At least get that part right. And otherwise, the ship makes sense. The cockpit's laid out typical Aegis fashion. Nothing too different here. Really, not much to say. Like I said, the review's been pretty much done. I'm just on my way to meet Miles Eckhart. Good flying ship, good firepower. If you upgrade the weapons, Omni Skies for the turrets work pretty well. Any kind of laser cannon would work, or ballistic cannon. The current Gatling repeaters sound great, look great, but they're spread. If you've flown the Inferno, you know what we're talking about. The spread is just ridiculous. So we'll bring it in here for a landing to meet Mr. Miles Eckhart. Now, one thing I do notice is as you can come in here, your visibility down forward is abysmal. Like, I almost have to come inverted to be able to see where I'm going over the ground or bring it in a sideways slip like that. So there's the landing area. Yeah, the little window at your feet is there, but I mean, I don't know about you, brother, but can you really tell where you're going? I mean, you can kind of tell, but not really. That visibility kind of blows. Alright, let's go and request landing. Let's go to the exterior for bringing out the gear, because it is beautiful. Here comes the gear, there goes the clamshells. Oh, mouse frickin'. Alright. Request landing. Where are they gonna put us?
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Yeah, so there's our landing bay. We'll look down through our feet. It kinda works. Like, I'm using Tobii eye tracker, so I basically have to put my chin in my chest, just use that window. Yeah. And now that messed up my eye tracking. There we go. So that is my only downside of the cockpit, is the forward visibility. And again, like I said, you know, the main purpose of this ship is to basically carry your turrets. That is your job. So for the most part, you're looking at maneuverability being meh, probably, I would say a little worse than a Constellation, honestly, which makes sense. It's a little bit heavier than a Connie because of all the armor. So you have much better shields than most ships its size, much better firepower. And again, that's all turrets. The sound of the thrusters kicking on, man, it's nice. It's like very military sounding thrusters. The only thing I have is, man, this is some tiny landing gear for a ship this size. I kind of feel like it needs bigger landing gear. Yeah, I mean, the maneuverability for its size isn't great. Well, let me phrase, it's interesting maneuverability. It's not horrible in that you can't control, you're sliding all over the place. Your inputs directly translate to movement about the axes. So it's very accurate in its maneuverability. It's just its pitch, its roll, its yaw, its ability to strafe is not as good as some of the other ships I've flown, such as, like I said, the Constellation, I think, is actually better than this ship when it comes to maneuverability. But the placement of the turrets on this ship, being both fore and aft, above and below, means that your turret gunners will be able to stay on target for the majority of the time fighting the ship. which is the point. But you, as the pilot, will have minimal opportunities to be able to, again, if they're smaller craft, so if you're fighting against gladiuses and, you know, arrows, you as the pilot are not going to be on target very often. When you do, you're going to want to make sure you have hard-hitting weapons like the ballistic cannons that it comes with. I would change out the repeaters and put cannons. Actually, no, excuse me, it has cannons. So I would stick with a cannon loadout for the pilot, so when you are on target, you're hitting as hard as you can. And then the top and bottom turrets, your choice. The Gatlings work well close range, but some Omni Skies would work better at long range. But it is just a great ship, truly, in combat, and it really shines against large craft. So up against a Constellation, up against anything of that size is where the ship really shines. It does well against fighters, but not as well as, you know, if you got 3 people on the ship, you're going to do better against fighters in fighters. So 3 fighters against 3 fighters is going to be better than... What is that sound? It's acting like the ship is skittering on its pad. Anyway, what was I saying? So 3 fighters against 3 fighters. I'd probably bring 3 fighters, assuming equal skill pilots. But you're going to be more durable in the Redeemers, so that could be an argument against sticking with the Redeemer over fighters. And again, it comes down to preference and what you feel like. I think it's a great ship. I think it flies well. It's not a fighter, but it's a good gun ship. So its main competition would be something like the Andromeda or the Freelancer Miss. And in that case, I would say the Freelancer Miss is definitely nowhere near as good as a Redeemer, falling way behind because it's even less maneuverable. And yes, it carries a ton of missiles, but those can be fought against with countermeasures. Meanwhile, you can't fight against guns. So the Redeemer wins there. Against the Andromeda, I don't know. I might give the Redeemer the edge just for survivability. It has more armor and more survivability. But for actual time on target and damage downrange, it still goes to the Redeemer. So the Redeemer is better than the Andromeda as far as guns. For flexibility, it goes to the Andromeda hands down, because you can use the Andromeda for a lot more than just fighting. So again, if you've got an Andromeda, should you upgrade to the Redeemer? That's going to be a personal choice. If you want to mostly do combat, then I would say the answer is yes. If the answer is you like combat, but you also like cargo, you also like traveling around, you like having a parasite fighter, the Andromeda wins, and it's obviously cheaper. So again, that's a choice you all got to make for yourselves. But again, I do think it's a great ship. I hope you enjoyed the very short video. Yeah, 23 minutes, one of my shorter ones. Basically, I just ran out of things to talk about with the Redeemer because it's a gunship. And it does its job as a gunship well. So